PMBC meeting for Wednesday, May 14th. I'm going to share the agenda. If I remember how to do this. Share. Oh, there we go. Share. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the first order of business is to approve the warrant. We don't have a warrant tonight. The second order of business is to approve the minutes from 4/23/25. I sent my comments out on the 29th to 30th. Any other comments or discussions on the meeting minutes from the 23rd?
I'm all set.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Roman, yes.
Tom?
Tim.
Tim.
Tim?
Yeah, Tim Harvey, yes.
Mike?
Mike Scaduto, yes.
And Steve, yes. Okay, that passes. Next up is Shaker Lane feasibility study. Right now, we're kind of in limbo. Our next meeting is next Wednesday. With the departure of Brian from the town, it's we need to figure out a kind of a who's going to take over on the town side. So
We're also losing Stacy too. She didn't rerun for the school.
yeah, is she still in, or is she not going to re-up?
Well, that's a voted position, isn't it? The school committee?
Yes, no, there was nobody listed under the school committee on the ballot.
Right, there was a write-in. So I'm assuming Stacy will be not on the school committee after was it June or the end of this month?
It should be immediate.
Oh, is it immediate?
Yeah, that's how it is for all the other committees at any rate.
Oh, okay. All right, we will remove her, and we'll bring that up with the Shaker Lane School Committee. I think we need to have somebody from the school committee on the Shaker Lane building committee. So, Karen, do you know, is there a plan for that?
I don't know what the school committee's plans are. From the town, you should probably include Jim Duggan for now.
Yeah, good idea. Yep.
Kim Kuvo is now the procurement officer for the town.
Who is?
Kim Kuvo.
Kim Kuvo. Okay.
So she is the interim procurement officer for the town in place of Ryan.
Is that CUVO?
KOU. Hold on, let me pull it up. KOUVO.
KOUVO. Okay. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
So there'll be a bit of a transition there.
Yeah, and Steve Mark is also like the school finance, so he might be able to help out also. On that
he's very helpful. So I'll move to the senior center update, Brian. Or
Yep. Thanks, Steve. Really winding down here from a construction standpoint. I believe on all social medias, Liz had sent out the ribbon cutting ceremony that's scheduled for 1 p.m. on Friday. Hope to see everybody there. From a punch list perspective, really everything has been closed out and back punched from the architect and the engineering consultants. There have been a few asks that the contractors had done. There was a a hose bib that wanted to be installed on the upper roof. That was installed this week and patched accordingly in order to provide some water for any cleaning and maintenance that's going to be needing on the roof mechanical systems. From a financial standpoint, knowing that Ryan had left, we're in a position now. We're working with Commodore on closing out the job financially. We've been in touch with Michelle Reynolds from accounting as well. We do not anticipate any more change orders from the contract. Conversely, we're actually going to be receiving a credit change order from the guaranteed maximum price. So our hope is the next PMBC meeting will have a vendor invoice packet and we'll show yet to be committed and available funds. And at that point, we'll also we have some meetings with Commodore for closing out any of the lingering allowances and holds that we have that went unspent throughout the project. I did check in with accounting to make sure that these credit change orders that are coming back are not affecting any of the borrowing and fiscal year work, and we have that squared away as well. One request from Steve from the previous meeting was to kind of give an update on where we are with closeout and an index of the things that will be turned over by the contractor at the end of the job. So we've gone through and finished all of the training for all of the multiple systems throughout the building. Those have all been recorded and will be saved on thumb drives to be turned over. We also have as-built and O&M manuals that will be turned over. However, we've also worked with Commodore to create what we're calling an index. And Steve, I thought it was a great idea, and I think it's going to really benefit the town at the end. And if I can share my screen quickly. This is in draft form currently, but what we've done is we've created a list and an index of every division that we have for the project, starting with concrete all the way down to the site work and all of the other pertinent trades that were involved. And really put a checklist or kind of a one-stop shop for the end user here, so they're not digging through specifications and through an entire O&M booklet to show if there's anything over and above that's carried in the contract above the 1-year workmanship warranty. So just for a quick example, S&F Concrete has a manufacturer's warranty of 10 years for any of the warning surfaces that we have that are on the sidewalks. If we scroll down a little bit, excuse me, I had a good example here. The roofing is always something that we want to know exactly what we have for manufacturer warranties on that. There's different warranties for different products on here, so this will allow facilities to take a look at this first index to see what the product is, what the agreement that was carried per the contract, and what's carried under warranty from the manufacturer, and then they'll be able to access the as-built and the O&M manuals to reach out to said manufacturer.
Hey Brian, one comment. Under young developers or any of the others that don't clearly identify the trade, could you put in roofing?
It's a great point. Absolutely. So yes, yeah, that's a very good point. But for something as as simple as the domestic water heaters on here, if it's 3 years from now and there's really no involvement from the project, this list will be able to say if there's a failure or if there's something happening with that water heater, you'd understand that that's covered under 5 years. The booklets will also reference what the manufacturer is, be able to call them and use the information that we have in order to get that fixed with no cost to the owner. So
Brian, I know that maybe 4 weeks ago or so, I had to sign off on a list of warranties. So if we could put effective warranty dates with those.
It's a great point. We could put that at the top. Yep. So what you signed was the effectively the substantial completion date, which started the 1-year workmanship warranty for the project. Once the controlled affidavits came from the architect and the engineers, and it was signed off by the building inspector for occupancy. And so yes, that's a good point. We will also put in there, in addition to the date of the start of the warranty, we'll put in a date for a recommended 10 to 11 month walkthrough with the contractor, as well as any of the important trades that can walk through and what we'd like to tell the end users is to kind of keep a list. If something's urgent or important, of course, to call and get that under warranty. But if it's something that's maybe a small aesthetic that can wait, we have a 1 year walkthrough at that 10-month period. Then usually either off hours or whatever works for the end user, we come in and make those repairs to kind of sum up that 1 year workmanship.
So in addition to the index for the contractor, I would expect that we would get an index from Vertex for RFI logs, meeting minutes, those kind of things.
Yep. So that's something that will be turned over as part of the closeout as well. We will have a file tree that will have all of our all the paperwork and all AOC minutes, RFIs, submittals, all of that will be contained. It'll be a large file. So we'll figure out the best way to transfer that, whether it's, it's not just a thumb drive, but a place where someone can access it and download it either off of our server and put it on the town's.
Yeah, maybe we can use that system that the air traffic controllers use, the floppy disks.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Might need a few of them.
So, Brian, it's all electronic, I take it. There's no hard copies of any of this.
I believe they still own one hard copy. So they'll do the upload on the town's portal, which will be all of the closeout documentation. We'll take care of ours as well, and all of the kind of all the paperwork that's led up from the past year and a half. Inclusive of that will be certified payrolls too. Even though that the job is done, sometimes there are FOIA requests for certified payrolls from years past, and that's something we want to have access to. So those will all be digital. As built and O&M manuals, I believe they own a physical copy that will sit on site as well as the building department having theirs in the portal.
Yeah, I've received several of those already, and they're stored in the mechanical room with the BMS computer.
Nice.
And that's going to apply also to King Street and that contractor.
That's correct. The King Street contractor, I would say, doesn't have as many resources as Commodore on this closeout. They have a dedicated closeout manager that's helping us with all of these and making sure, but we are keeping them to their contract and providing them these indexes about what's going to be provided and uploaded. But that one's going to be just as important because of we need to delineate what was worked on, what was existing, and those as-built are going to be very important.
Exactly. So if we can get an index from them as well.
Yep.
Anything else on Senior Center?
No, hope to see everyone on Friday.
Yep. Rain or shine, right?
Rain or shine.
Okay, down to Indian Hill.
Yeah, I think once you get confirmation from the state reps they're coming, that weather isn't an option at that point. So if we have to go to Walmart and get some tarps, we will. But
no, we have a huge tent coming tomorrow or Friday. Okay. Sorry. So yeah, we're covered.
Over to King Street. This one we had a lot of involvement with Ryan before his departure. As we close this one out financially, we have saddled up 99% of the financials on this. There's one outstanding PCO that I'll be bringing to the PMBC once it's recommended from us and from the designer. We had some feedback and some pushback that we gave to the filed sub painter about some of the patching. We're in the process of kind of arguing and fleshing this out. We know that there was some over and above work that was done per the contract, but we want to make sure that the town is not double spending on what the scope was. So that is currently ongoing. A lot of the remaining finishes are going on right now. Flooring install and flooring refinishing is happening, as well as a lot of the final punch list for the paint. We've done some dry runs with the security systems and the locking and access control. That should be all set now at this point. The IT should be all set at this point, up and running for both departments, which use two different networks. Thanks to Eric, he coordinated the DPW, who I believe was on site this week, doing some of the grubbing and just kind of general cleanup around the building itself that was not part of the contract to have kind of a more presentable finish on the outside. There was a lot of overgrown weeds near the building as well as the adjoining property where potentially future tennis courts might be.
It looked really nice when I went by. The shrubs, they'd put some shrubs in and they'd
Yep.
put some flowers.
That's
So
great
it
to
looked
hear.
really nice.
It's not complete yet, but yeah, they did fill all the beds with some shrubs and some other plantings, and it'll be mulched and finished by hopefully by Monday.
Good, good. I was not able to attend today's meeting. However, the EV charger for the Parks and Rec electric truck has been installed. They were going to test that and have that overnight to make sure that it was working properly before we hand that over.
Yep, that worked.
Okay, great. Great to hear. And so now we're at a point where we're going to be also closing this out financially. We're doing the closeout activities, the recorded trainings. Like we said, we'll create that index. The floor will be finished within the next couple weeks, and then we'll be awaiting the furniture delivery from WB Mason. That is scheduled by the end of the month or just after the first week of June. At that point, we've also engaged with WB Mason for moving some of the filing that's going to be used at the existing locations and brought over. But we're trying to be careful with both departments. As we know, we're getting close to the end of the school year and also the busy time of Parks and Rec. So we're trying to be conscious of their schedules and make sure that when we do move them, it's as easy and painless as possible. So that's going to be their priority for the remainder of the next couple of weeks.
So, Brian, I know they're bringing over their antiquated handsets for telephones. Have those lines been wrung out so it's just virtually a plug and play?
Yeah, so all the Cat 6 cabling, which we ended up paying a premium for, as once we signed the contract, the IT director realized that the most of the cabling that was in the existing building was Cat 5 and was not going to have the capabilities that we needed. So a lot of new Cat 6 was run to these locations. Those have been punched down into their switches, the network switches that we have, and wrung out and labeled. So this should be more or less a plug and play into those data ports.
So does that mean they've been tested?
So if the phones have not been brought over, the physical phones themselves, what has been is the endpoints from the data jack to back to the server to where it lands into the network switch.
So there's no way to kind of put in a dummy phone and test it?
It's a good, and that's something that I'll make sure that has been done before we do any moving. If there's an extra phone that we can take out of town hall, maybe we'll steal Ryan's old one while he's not using it and make sure that we've got communication going.
Good idea.
Brian, when's the estimated turnover of that building?
So if moving happens, I would give moving a couple days. If we are done in the first week of June, I anticipate being ready to turn over. At that point, we did leave it up to both departments if they'd like to have some sort of a ceremony or a ribbon cutting at that point to be turned over. But we are going to kind of leave it to the departments as to when they want to occupy. We will have everything in order and have substantial completion well ahead of that, probably within the next couple weeks.
So at the meeting today, Brian and everyone, Kyle said they will be wrapping things up and hopefully be out of there by Friday. So Friday of this week. And then Parks and Rec is going to start immediately moving over there. And the school department doesn't plan on moving over there until sometime in the summer, around August.
So, Eric, are the card access are the card access things working?
Yep, everything's been tested and it's working right now. So NSI and everyone's been out there to verify that. So that's been documented by Doug and Vertex as well.
Brian or Eric, did they ever make a pathway connecting to the school, the high school? I was just wondering.
Well, I believe the DPW had planned on making something. There is a three or four step staircase that goes up, and there's a sidewalk that goes to the school. And they were also trying to make a path to get the lawnmowers from the school fields down to there also.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant a tunnel, and I was like, oh, no, that wasn't part of the scope. But yes, that there is that staircase, and DPW has been great about clearing it and getting things cleaned up for the exterior.
Yeah, next they're gonna want it lighted, right?
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah, they already talked about who's doing the snow for it, so.
Okay. Anything else on Indian Hill? Okay, police station, Brian.
Yeah, we had bad weather last week. We were rained out. I've reached out, and thanks to Eric too, he's helping us coordinate. Are hoping to have this out next week. Once a date is completely firmed, I'd let Bob and Steve, as well as Chief Bernard, know if that date works for them, and with the department, if there's any type of training or off limits at a certain time. But that is what we're scheduling now. Would be next week. There's 3 different parties that we're trying to wrangle in here at the same time, and obviously the date that we picked, it ended up being a complete washout and wouldn't really help us for the testing that needs to be done. So once a date is secured for next week, I will send that out to everybody.
Brian, I think
How long does it take to get the results?
So it's from my understanding of the proposal that was given to us by LLB and their consultant, is that the waterproofing company is going to remove some of the stones. That's probably going to take a few hours in order to get that done and out of the way. And then either by the end of the day or the following early in the morning, the consultant would get up and perform their water intrusion test, which would take also the day, half a day to a day to be done that. And then I would give them approximately a week to return the report with the findings that they had on there. And then
Are they actually going to remove some of those bullnose?
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they've identified a couple of the windows that we knew we were getting the bowing and the moisture problem, where we were seeing the actual blinds bend. And it's going to be a removal, because if you remember, all of the headers had already been replaced and reflashed as part of the original scope.
Right.
So we're taking it up a little higher and blowing out some of that bullnose that we have up there, where we're seeing a lot of discoloration. And that's the location in which they were going to be performing the water.
So we'll have to take out some brick as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Brian, we talked about this, I think, at one of the other meetings, that it's gone all winter now, and we've had plenty of rain, and we've had no intrusion as far as water goes.
I know.
Are we looking at maybe a humidity problem instead of a intrusion of water?
I think it's always been a variable on this as well. Knowing that there was some scope and some block that was not done as part of our original scope, I think this is kind of a ruling out exercise from what was remaining on the envelope of the exterior. But I know that even when we started this years ago, that there was always been maybe a possible concern or variable about some of the actual humidity that's in the room and the temperature control.
Yeah. Bob's brought that up for years, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some clear efflorescence with the white powder on the brick above that bullnose. So I'm not fully convinced that it's coming in the bullnose if there's efflorescence on the brick above the bullnose, but hopefully they'll be able to determine that.
Didn't we seal that? Didn't we do a seal, like a 5% seal on that?
Yes. Everything got
I'm surprised it's efflorescence.
We did a seal, a wash down and a seal, and then on the other side, on the parapet side, we also re-roofed the entire parapet that went up to that. So with a new cap as well.
Well, one step at a time, right?
We're getting there. I mean, I'm referencing a Vertex report from like 2018, I think, is when we originally did some destructive testing.
Yeah, I remember. I would get a call from the chief once a month, and I'd see who was calling, and I'd say, "Hi, Chief. Steve." "Yes, Chief." Then he'd say something that I can't repeat, but basically, when are you going to fix my
Yep, yep.
Building.
I've also received those calls from Chief. I use him for a reference, so I have to answer and take him when he yells at me. So
Exactly. So, anything else on the police station?
nothing further. I'll make sure I send out any information that I get within the next day or so.
That'd be great. Member input, Bob,
I'm all set, Steve.
Tim,
No input.
alias Tom, Bartlett,
No, I'm good, thanks. I
Mike,
apologize for being late.
I'm all set. Thank you.
and the only input. I have a question for Karen. You had said that Stacy's probably effectively off the school board at this point.
That's correct. That's how it works for select board at any rate.
Okay, so I'm going to declare that she's off of PMBC, and we now have 5 members, so we only need 3 for a quorum, which is very helpful until school board reappoints somebody. So from now until school board reappoints somebody, we only need a quorum of 3 for a meeting. And that's my input. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Bob,
Bob Rumley, yes.
Tim,
Tim Harvey, yes.
Mike,
Mike Scuduto, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
and Steve, yes. Next meeting is May 28th. I guess we'll have